Welcome to Recovery with Patrick. I'm glad you're with us, my friends. I want to talk about early recovery and a story I like. So, many of you heard of Plato, and I want to talk about the allegory of the cave. So, in every college class, Philosophy 101, you're going to talk about the allegory of the cave. So, I'm going to do kind of a clumsy example of the allegory of the cave. If you're interested in a better telling of this story, Peg O'Connor, who was a college professor, got a piece published in the New York Times, and that's where I kind of lined this up for me, called The Cave in Recovery. She's also written a book called Recovery on the Rocks that is phenomenal. It talks a lot about philosophy and recovery. So the story goes like this, the allegory of the cave, kind of a thought experiment. So Plato described prisoners in a cave, and they were all facing a wall, and that's all they could see. They couldn't really turn their heads and see what was behind them. They could barely see the other prisoners on each side of them, and all they could see was the wall in front of them. Well, the guards up in the cave mouth had a big fire going, and they thought it would be fun to do like puppet shows and scary things and shadows on the wall. So if you think about years and years of this, that becomes your reality, right? That is all you know is what you see on that wall, right? So one day, one of the prisoners got loose, and he broke out, and he got past the guards and got out of the cave, right? Now you can imagine spending your whole life in a cave, in a dark cave, and the only reality you have are shadows on a wall, and maybe that there's other people next to you. And when he got outside, the sun was blinding. It hurt his eyes. He couldn't really see, and it was difficult. And he was hearing strange noises. He was hearing birds. He was hearing dogs bark. He was hearing different things and smelling things he'd never smelled before. Grass and flowers, trees, and he could hear the leaves whistling and rustling. And this was all new and kind of scared him a little bit. He wasn't used to it, right? But as his eyes started to adjusting to the light, he started seeing beauty in a way he had never imagined, right? He could never imagine how beautiful the existence was outside of that cave. And he saw colors and birds and animals and rocks, streams and water, right? He tasted fresh water, put his feet in a cool stream, right? These are all beautiful experiences that he could never imagine, right? How's that sound like recovery, right? The first part of recovery is really difficult, and it takes some getting used to, right? We have to adjust our sight, right? Our perspectives. We have to change everything, right? We have to change so much, and it's hard, and it takes a while to get adjusted and to get settled in. But once we do, we start seeing the beauty all around us, right? We start understanding what a precious thing this life is and what we've been given. And in recovery, we can connect with feelings and emotions that we thought were long dead. We can start learning how to trust people again, right? Trust ourselves. As our eyes and our vision, our perceptions become more adjusted to recovery, the same way the prisoner got used to the blinding light of the sun, we start to settle in to our recovery, right? And it's especially helpful if we have support, if we have love, right? So around the tables, they use the word sponsor a lot, right? The way I think about a sponsor is a coach, a guide, somebody who has walked this path before, knows where some of the traps are, knows where the ice gets thin, knows where the safe places are, right? A guide, somebody who can guide me through the early stages of recovery. Now, the trails are hard, they're difficult, they're challenging, but they are doable. They are doable. There's an old saying from one of the tables, and I'm trying to avoid using specific names of the fellowships, but it's called the waltz, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because nobody wants to do the fourth step. I'll do a video just on the fourth step. But I think when we think about that, think about balance, right? The first thing we do is think about all the stuff we want to beat ourselves up over and all the maybe unfortunate things that we've done, but we're more than that, right? We're not all one thing. And that's how we remember ourselves sometimes. It's all one thing. Well, our memories, our vision, our perspective is skewed by the alcohol and drugs, right? So I will go more into depth in that on another video. But I love the story of the allegory in the cave, and I think it lines up with recovery so well. I know Plato didn't write it that way to talk about recovery, but boy, it sure fits, right? So be good to you, my friends. Be kind and patient with yourselves. Be mindful how we talk to ourselves, right? It matters. You matter. And don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. You can do this, right? You can do this. There's many of us that didn't think we could, and we did. I'm here because other people held me up when I couldn't do it myself. I'm here because people loved me when I wasn't lovable. You can do this, right? So take care of yourselves. Be good to you. And I'll see you soon. All my best, my friends.